What's up, everybody?
Hello, welcome back. It is Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. If you're watching the VOD, if you're one of the VOD boys, girls, people, we'll start in about 3 minutes. We'll give it 3 minutes. So if you're watching the VOD, skip ahead 3 minutes. If you're watching live, just vibe with us. It's me, Andrew. Nick's here. Say hi, Nick.
Guys, welcome.
And then we have Wes. Our friend Wes is going to be on the show today.
Yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Hello.
Also, Wes's mic, I think, is better than all of ours. So
it is 10 times better than all of ours.
So tasty.
Nice. Good to know that I have a good mic.
Yes,
There you go.
it sounds like I want you to be like mixing drinks or like cracking eggs. Like I want major ASMR moments.
Yeah, my dog is actually barking in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear that.
Oh, I heard it as you were talking. I heard like a little piece of it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a school bus time. So the school buses are coming through the neighborhood and he just freaks out every day.
Oh, that's awesome. Even your dog sounds great through the mic, though. That's cool.
Yeah.
What's up?
All right,
Wade?
chat.
What's
While we
up,
wait,
Mike?
I'm gonna go ahead and start a a poll real quick. Next week is gonna be a design with us, and if you want it to be an ASMR stream, I just put that poll up. So go vote on the poll. It should be in the chat above us. You can go vote on that, and we'll get started here in 2 minutes.
Perfect.
Chat, I need to move you over here so I can see you. Oh, there you are. There you are, Peter. Wes, have you done any streaming on Twitch before?
I did a long time ago when we were Algorithmic before we joined Adobe. There was a brief time where we were doing Twitch streams.
Nice.
Years ago, but yeah, we did for a little while.
Sweet. It's a fun platform. Also, chat, next week we're gonna get marbles set up, and so we'll do some contests and we'll play some marbles on stream, which is just my favorite thing to do on Twitch.
Ooh, something new.
It's basically like in chat they can hit a command and then it plays this game where they get a marble like from chat, and then it does like a marble race. And then the winner will win a prize. So we're definitely gonna get that hooked up for next week.
Perfect for next week.
Perfect for next week.
I love it.
All right, we got 15 seconds before we're going live. Countdown to the intro, everybody. My favorite thing is when we do countdowns because of delay, the chat all starts at different numbers.
Yes.
So there's just like 10, 6, 5. Okay, we're going to start the show. Go live, everybody. Countdown to the start of the episode. Start wherever you want. Here we go. Well, hey there, everybody. We made it. I'm Andrew Hawkrattle.
I'm Nick Longo.
And this is Anchor Points. Ooh, in unison. Episode 2. I'm so sorry that says episode 1. This is actually, I think this is episode 3.
3.
That's how this show is. This show, as we like to call it, is your favorite dumpster fire, happening every week here on Twitch at 1 p.m. We have a very special guest today, and so we're just going to jump right into it. Nick, real quick, what is this show if people haven't seen it before or haven't tuned in?
Yeah, we're your weekly show right here on Twitch, brought to you by Adobe, and we're helping you guys out with tons of different things. We pick a name or a word for the week, and we kind of just go explore it in all these different segments. Where do we go from here? Right into our guest?
Right into our guest. And
go for it.
Okay, hold on. Chat is saying confirmed pre-recorded for episode 1. False. That is so false. This is a live episode. Don't you go spreading those rumors. It's one of our mods too. Shame on you. All right, let's go ahead and hop into our first segment, which is going to be our Artist Spotlight with a very special person today. All right, it's you. You also, sorry, the poll is up there. Yes, chat. We will definitely do ASMR stream next week for Design With Us. That's going to be so unhinged. So yes, you could always be our Artist Spotlight if you want to. Show us what you got. Go to discord.gg/ACC and drop your work in there. We have different Artist Spotlights every week. But today we have a very, very special artist who has been lingering in the background as we've continually talked. And it is... Dun, da, da, da. Hi, Wes.
Hello.
What's up, Wes?
Man, that's fun. I've never been a special person before. Thank you guys.
You got to reveal and everything. Like I needed like a little curtain to open for you.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, so Wes, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, all that fun stuff.
Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm Wes McDermott. I'm part of the Substance 3D team. My new role is the head of the Substance 3D evangelism team. And yeah, I've been with Substance and the team before we joined Adobe for quite some time. I think I started back in like 2013. And so, yeah, I've just been involved in 3D for well over 20 years. And now we're here at Adobe and having some new adventures.
3D for 20 years. It feels like such a new, like, emerging, like, zone. And then to hear somebody that's like, oh no, it's been around forever. It just, like, it feels like it's in the zeitgeist right now of, like, 3D is this new big hot thing, but it's been around forever.
Yeah. Like when I started to learn 3D, it was, because I started off as a photographer. It's what I wanted to do. And it was before like digital photography. So it was all film. And then I'm like, okay, I'm getting into, I'm seeing computers and what this is all about. But so when I started, learning 3D, it was like, I remember the first tutorial that I ever watched, I had to order, and I did order it online, but I had to order it online and it came as a VHS tape. I kid you not, VHS tape. Yeah, so I had several VHS tapes of tutorials, and I remember it was how to model an index finger.
Oh my! See,
incredible.
Now that's all I want to do is do like a digital class, but it just like mails out VHS tapes. That sounds like the coolest experience to learn how to do stuff.
Might as well just go to
really, yeah. I mean, if you think about that, it's really weird because like back then, it was like. You couldn't even just fast forward quickly to where you wanted to go. You had to like really fast forward and and then back it up and everything. Like I don't know.
Couldn't see the most popular areas of the video as well.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So with that, Wes, let's go ahead and actually spotlight you and show off some of your work. So let me go ahead and hop over here. I'm going to kick you off the screen. Bye. Okay. So here's some of your work. Can you talk us through maybe your approach, maybe one of these projects, something that you have created that you're proud of, anything here that you'd want to talk about?
Well, I guess one thing I'll talk about is one of the things that I started doing a lot since we started the evangelism team was I started just making a lot of tutorials that I'm placing on my own YouTube channel. So you'll see here that a lot of my projects that are here on ArtStation say video tutorial. So yeah, this is something I've always been really passionate about, making videos. And so yeah, I just started having these videos show up on the YouTube channel. So if anyone's interested in 3D, be sure to check it out. But I try to post a lot of like tips and tricks and just overall tutorials and things like that. And then yeah, for the other projects, I kind of tend to go a little bit all over the place, but really kind of where I really come from is kind of like more like games and VFX environments. So it's really more game art. And that's kind of where when we were Allegorithmic before Adobe, that's where we really focused a lot of our work. And Substance was really adopted a lot in the games industry. So yeah, that's where a lot of my kind of focus has been. So now I'm looking to kind of branch out and do some other things as well. But yeah, that's kind of what the overall kind of work is.
That's cool. Also, I hate this. I hate oh yeah, no, it's just a blob of skin texture. It's technically impressive, visually disgusting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I was actually hesitant to even post that. I really was because I was like, it is kind of weird.
Yeah, like the case study doesn't
I don't know.
This.
I mean, it works. People like to see it.
It's probably the one you use the most too, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's and it wasn't too hard to create. Really, I just did that all in Substance Painter. So it was like it's a smart material, we call it. So you can share it across projects or give it to other people. It's pretty good.
And speaking of Substance, go ahead, Nick.
I was gonna say, what do you say to designers who are like kind of a little apprehensive about getting into 3D, and now with the kind of, I feel like there's an open gate for us to try it. The folks that haven't done it, what's a good benefit for anybody that wants to try it out?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, there's all kinds of benefit, and I think that really what it comes down to is just never feeling pushed to do something, but maybe just looking at it more in a sense of like just thinking, where do I want to go? Do I really want to do 3D work, or do I want to use 3D to kind of build upon what I already have, because sometimes it can just be an extension of what you're already doing. And so really it's just finding your own path and just enjoying what you do, and exploring new tools. I've always loved doing that, but I will say, like, now is like the best time to get into 3D, because I mean there's so much information out there. You can go to YouTube and just learn so much stuff for free without paying anything. There's so many amazing softwares that's available. I mean, shameless plug for Substance, I guess. but I will say that I loved it before I actually worked for the company. So that's how I got the job, right? So I was posting tutorials and talking about it so much that the CEO of Algorithmic at the time, he just said, "Hey, we don't have anybody doing this. I mean, do you want to work here?" I was like, "Yeah, that would be great." So anyways, like, I always had a great love for the Substance tools. But yeah, I mean, now's the best time to get into it. It's exciting. There's a lot of fun. And like I said, it's really an extension of what you kind of already do. Like for me, I started off, I was a photographer, and I fell in love with 3D because the first time I saw a 3D program, the first thing I thought was, because I used to love to draw and paint and do photography. And I was like, wow, this 3D program, this is everything I've ever wanted. Like, it's a photography studio. I've got lighting.
Yeah.
I can draw stuff. And it was all that kind of stuff wrapped into one thing. And I was hooked. I mean, fell in love from that moment. I still remember I worked in it was a video production house. I was a video editor at the time, and I saw a 3D program and I was like, this is it. I just went gangbusters on it, just learning everything I could.
I love those moments. And when you're talking about now being a great time to get into it, segue. This is going to be so good, Wes. You set me up with the softball. Here's the home run. Speaking of a perfect time to get involved with it, that's right. This week is the perfect time to get involved with 3D, because we're running a 3D boot camp over on adobe.com. So you can go to adobe.ly/3D bootcamp model. Drop that down in chat for you. And we are teaching you how to do 3D all this week, and specifically tomorrow. Oh, it's a familiar face. Look at that guy. Wes, what are we doing tomorrow on the 3D bootcamp here on adobe.com?
Okay, yeah. So tomorrow is my first time doing something on Adobe Live, so that'll be fun. But what I'm doing is I have like an hour, and I'm just running through just a bunch of but we're gonna build a scene, and it's more design focused. So I had one of the artists on my team. Her name's Anna Natter. She built a really nice kind of design scene using Illustrator. So we're taking a combination of some content built in Illustrator, grabbing stuff from 3D assets, building a scene in Stager. We're gonna paint in Painter. I'm gonna create some materials using Sampler. And in the end, we're just going to render a full scene, hopefully all within 1 hour.
Yes, I am so freaking excited for that. I am a newbie to 3D, and just chatting with Wes, seeing some of the workflow, I'm just like, yes. Which we're going to show you a little bit of today. And if you miss any of the sessions, you can go to that link down in the chat, and it will take you to the sessions about using 3D in Illustrator, Photoshop, and After Effects, which is new, which we just did this morning. So Wes, thanks so much for coming on the show. You are now a friend of the show. We love you here on Anchor Points, and we're excited for the bootcamp tomorrow. Any parting inspiration words for people that are watching?
Oh, I guess not really. I mean, just hopefully you'll see the boot camp tomorrow and just have fun. Yeah. 3D is just a lot of fun, and it's definitely not something that's scary at all. It's just a really great extension of art, and it's just a lot of fun to get into. I absolutely just love it. It's really cool.
Sweet. Well, thanks for coming on, Wes. We will kick you off. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you another time. Sure. Bye.
Yeah, thanks guys. Wes. Take care.
Oh, Wes, that was so fun. Okay, so hey everybody, we're gonna continue on, and Wes, lingering, you can just pop off all of the Zooms and Discords Wes. And all that stuff. Yeah, I can see him on my screens. Chat, you can't see him because we're covering it up. All right, so today we have a very special theme that we will be covering, and we're gonna hop right into Trend Watch. Nick, are you? Nick's got his binoculars on. Nick, are you ready to watch the trend?
I am ready. Let's go to Trendworthy.
Let's do it. Trendworthy. That's right. It is time to find your perspective is going to be our theme for the whole episode. Today, we'll be talking about finding your perspective, which I think will be really interesting. Nick, talk to me about perspective. What are we going to be covering today?
Yeah, my first thought was there's so many angles to it, like no pun intended, but right? You could, when we were brainstorming this, perspective can mean so many different things in your day to day, right? Not only creating things that are in perspective and showing depth and dimension, but also your own personal perspective on, how you learn, how are you learning the kind of industry that you're in, the tools that you use. We're going to cover a lot of that today. So
yes.
Anxious to see what we can do.
I am too. So we're going to try to show you a little bit of some hands-on. And actually, let's just run down the segments that we're doing today, because if you watched the show before, you know that we do segments. We're going to be talking about Trend Watch. And from Trend Watch, we're going to do a little bit of DIY. From DIY, we're going to... Counterpoints. Nick and I are going to fight about the idea of, is the perspective or the product more valuable? And then we'll be going into...
Expert insight.
Some expert insight from us. It's experts. I'm trying, Nick. And then we'll do some in the past, talk about back in the day. Chat, if you have any questions, if you have any advice, if you have anything that you want to say, look at that. You're on the screen down there. You'll always be on the screen because you're here in our hearts. Like sometimes literally, my heart's like right here. So
isn't it cool? We're like one big family all on the same screen.
Together, wherever.
Broadcasting live.
It's true.
Is so cool.
So hang out with us, ask questions if you have them. If you don't, that's totally fine as well. We'll be answering, and we'll be doing polls throughout this, especially as we get into designing. We'll be doing polls to get your input on things. All right, so let's go ahead and hop in to our very first part of the show, and that is going to be Trendworthy. I'm going to do the transition again because I already changed scenes. So here we go. This is Trendworthy.
Yes.
Pump up the jam, pump it up, pump the jam, pump it up now. All right, Nick, what is the trend that we are going to be talking about today in Trendworthy?
It's really about brands that show some perspective in more ways than one, right? Like there's so many different ways you could do it visually. You could do it with your voice, right? You could do it with your online presence. There's so many cool ways we can kind of explore this.
Yep. So we're going to go through and we're going to show you maybe some brands that have visual perspective and then some brands that have like brand marketing perspective, right? There are a couple different perspectives that we can look at. And the first is, of course, that visual. Nick, let's talk about this trend that I think that we saw more in the past. And like, this was like a 90s trend that I feel like is coming back now.
Out of the old Olive Garden logo. Perfect example of like, right. It had texture, it had highlights, it had drop shadows, it had like ornate things and stuff. But trying to find that good example of like today's version of what depth and perspective and dimension can add to a brand. A great example right here is our Kraft mac and cheese. I thought they were changing it to cheese and mac. Remember that campaign back in the day?
No.
They were like, wait a minute, it's the cheese that everybody loves. And they had a whole campaign for a year where they were basically like picketing, like, let's change it to
cheese and mac.
Like a
That's
petition.
Fun.
It never happened. But this is a perfect example. You could start right with the blue kind of dial in the background and how that has that perfect little highlight and shadow in there to create some depth. And, you've got a product like this that is amongst probably 20 to 30 competitors right next to it on every shelf, right? So that depth, look at that little, you got the perfect speed going.
I was going to say the slow-mo felt like a bit much, but it also felt right. So
like that anticipation of like,
sorry, chat.
What is this? And what a great way to add it to not only the branding, but the packaging and then everything else they're going to do with the marketing. I think it's so nice to see when everything got so flat and so one-dimensional. This is a great idea of how you can, I think, add it to a brand ever so slightly and win with all those advantages.
Yep, absolutely. I mean? So some more examples. And Nick, I'm going to be honest here when we talk about this. I hate this style.
You do, huh?
I hate this. To me, it is so boring. It's just like boring and corporate and just like, I'd never see a concept here. It's all about just like the gimmick. And so I get so bored by this. Give us your perspective and talk about it. I came in super hot today. I'm spicy today, by the way, everybody. So we're gonna get real spicy.
Give us your perspective. I know.
What's your perspective, Nick?
Again, I have fought for so long that like when branding got so stripped, a lot like what we talked about last week. How can you bring personality, depth, perspective, and some interest, some interaction back into not only branding but just graphics, just art. Every time you see a new rebrand, not only has the logo been stripped, but all of their patterns and their backgrounds and the elements that make up the brand. So if this is something that like I feel brings more personality, invites you in a little bit more, shows it like if you are trying to do a project that is going to show transparency, that one on the far right there would be a perfect one to kind of show off there as far as that. Like if the MasterCard logo wanted to take it one step further, instead of just having flat color, what if this version was there? I think the Instagram logo is a perfect example of kind of this kind of, if you want to call it a trend and kind of a style. It's just better than flat.
Okay. That's
You
fair,
know?
I guess. Sure.
Sorry. What do you guys think?
You're right. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think, chat? Let's go ahead. I'm going to do a poll
There's
for this
room
because
for it. I get what you're saying. It's like maybe you're seeing it a lot too, and I think that's another thing. Is it being overly used at this moment?
Yeah.
Right. So if it's going to the top, then it's a trend, and then the full-on trends are those things to kind of maybe start thinking about. Should we think of something else? Should we re-examine it?
Yeah.
Should we remix it a little bit?
I agree.
So, interesting.
Yeah, so we're going to start a poll there, and I'm just going to let that go, chat. Let us know what you think about this idea of, what do we think about this kind of corporate dimension look? Are we over it?
Yeah.
Do we think it's interesting? Let us know what you think in that poll, and I'll bring it back up at the end. All right,
Yeah.
so continuing on, this is another trend that I think is interesting, Nick. Talk about this real quick.
Yeah, and if you don't know, this is Johnny Ives. Y'all probably know who Johnny Ives is. I don't think we have to introduce this guy, but he's finally started his design team. Have you heard of this?
I haven't.
Yeah, it's called Love Form, and FORM, and you could check a look. There's a very simple little website that kind of is just an introductory. Nothing's been done yet except for the logo for King Charles. Like this is his first project. Like I love this guy. Like I love these pioneers in our field, But here's a way you can have depth, perspective, dimension. I think it's got a lot of overlay and quite busy. But then the other one he did over to the left, I think was inspired by Adobe's Intertwine.
I was going to say this is very intertwined, and if you want to stick around for DIY, which is coming up right after this, not after the show, after this segment, and we'll show you how to do this. It's actually super easy to do this now with the Intertwine tool. But I agree. I think that this is a major trend to watch, is the overlapping, the intertwining, kind of giving everything a new dimension to it. Also, what's happening here? What's this? Is this going inside the T?
Is that the streak or the maybe we need to call Johnny and see what's going on there.
Are there any things that are going inside letters? There aren't. Okay.
Oh, I think it's darkening because it's underneath. It's starting to go underneath the butterfly.
Oh, you're right, and it's going underneath here. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
All right. All right. You get a pass.
But again,
you get a pass for me, Johnny Ives. What am I talking about?
I will never publicly speak against this man.
Yes. Put me in timeout, chat. Can I ban me from my own channel?
Exactly, right. So good examples of it doesn't have to be shading all the time or whatever. Yep. There's other ways things can be in front, things can go in back. And then we've seen this trend a lot too, which is I call more like the inflated, maybe like it's been like, I love the ones that look like someone's attached a pump to it and just gave it a little bit of air.
And we'll show you how to do that in DIY coming up right after this as well. This is actually so easy now. I
love those ones to the right. I think that's a really neat way to incorporate. I'm working on a lot of corporate things right now where everybody wants to give me an icon for, stability or income or gross profit. And it's like, well, this is a cool way to take a very simple icon and give it some character, make it look a little bit more authentic to your brand.
Yeah.
If it works,
This is incredible. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that this is a big trend. And again, we see this in a bunch of different places. And usually I go through these slides, but you guys are getting this because I don't know, I want to be more hands-on.
I think it looks more DIY.
I agree. I think that this is the trend to watch, is just 3D right now. It's so hot and it's just like coming in so strong. Because technology, I think, is advancing so much that it's creating this as an awesome trend.
And it's easier than ever to not only explore the true 3D, like Wes was just showing us, but even all of our apps that we now have 3D incorporated in them, including, I put that one in there with the perspective grid. because how many times have we sworn off the perspective grid? But it is your best tool in creating things very much like this, where you are trying to have different kinds of forced perspective, and all your graphics lock onto it immediately in Illustrator. So it is a tool that we can use.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I think that that's going to be something that we show you in DIY, but we are going to continue this Trendworthy, and we're going to talk not only about perspective visually, we're going to talk about kind of emotional perspective with companies. And so we're going right back in to another trend watch. We need like an alert, like trend watch. So let's go back into another trend watch. All right, so Trendworthy, we're talking about perspective, and right now we're talking not necessarily about visual, we're talking about like emotional and like positioning perspective of brands. This is a huge thing in the last 10 years, is having a perspective as a brand. And Nick, I want to talk about this one first, CoverGirl. CoverGirl had this, I believe that it started with a Super Bowl commercial a couple years ago, but it went from kind of like the beauty that you always see that's like, oh, we're beautiful and gorgeous and flawless and no pores, to this slogan of I am what I make up, which I think is so genius, because you got the makeup in there, you've got this like empowerment, and the commercial had women of all different ages, skin tones, body types, everything, playing with makeup and doing whatever they want, right? There were drag queens in there, and it was just kind of this, makeup is not about being beautiful, it's about being you, it's about being who you want to be. And I love that shift in perspective, and I think it's the first time I've seen a brand, especially in the beauty space, be like, no, like we have a perspective, we're not just about like selling beauty, we have a perspective of empowerment. And I think that's really cool. Are there any other brands that you've seen do this?
Do you think this brand answered the call that the consumer was already doing, or have they pioneered something new that the consumer's going, yeah, I'm on track with that?
Ooh, interesting. I think this was a new idea for the consumer in the beauty space.
Really?
I think it's something that the consumer probably wanted, that like there was conversation around, but I think that
so it was an answer.
Yes, this was, I think, the first time that I'd seen a brand respond with like, here is our perspective to it.
I 100% agree, because I think sometimes they could be a little bit behind.
Yep.
And society, particularly with social media and everything, is so fast in its voice that I feel like this was, it would have been cool. Maybe we'll look at these other examples and see if, I'd love the brands that pioneer it and go, we're gonna do this for it. We're gonna tell you, here's a new voice.
Yep.
You know, rather than listening to the people and just replying.
Yeah, I agree. And chat, you made up your mind. You are okay with the dimension on the corporate stuff, which is fine. And if you're
Don't take it so hard.
Yes, I know. If you're watching the replay, we did do a poll that was talking about, are we okay with this style of corporate kind of bubbliness? And our chat in the live chat said, yes, it is. Live chat is down here. They're not showing up right now because they're quiet. There we go. So if you're watching the replay, we have a live chat. Join us every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific time. Twitch.tv/Adobe. So the next example that I have for this trend of having a perspective, Patagonia came out hard with a perspective that is really core to their beliefs. And this was a ad that they took out for Black Friday, I believe. And they said, don't buy this jacket, right? And I think that they shut their stores on Black Friday because it was a commentary on consumerism.
Yeah. Love that.
I think that this has been so interesting. I think Patagonia did something on social media that I heard about, to where they didn't like pump it up or be like, look at us, or pat ourselves on our back, but they had a whole year on Instagram where it was only women being featured on their Instagram. And it was something that's like, cool, this is just our perspective, is that like, we don't see enough women and we want to inject that more into this space and have representation. And so I think it's interesting that Patagonia, to me, is such a great example of a company with perspective that sticks to it and implements it.
And I think that was their own intention to say, we're not going to fall in like every other retailer and be open on Thanksgiving night, and then all through the Black Friday. And it was like, give their employees the time off they need to be with their family.
Yep. And I think their whole campaign literally was just like, go outside. Like that was like their whole thing is like, don't go in a store, go outside.
Yeah,
which
that too.
Again, is their perspective is all about nature and being out in nature. It makes so much sense for them to be like, we don't want you in our store. We want you in nature. That's our perspective, and we need to stick to it.
Would you say that's like almost reverse psychology in a little way?
I don't think so, because I don't think that they were using it. Their perspective has been communicated so well that they are not that company to try to get you to buy stuff. Like they're very adamantly anti, like just growing the company. And so I
lived that already.
Exactly. I think that this is something that like was definitely good for buzz and marketing, but I think that this was more selling their perspective than their product, which is what we're going to talk about in counterpoints a little bit later. Interesting. So the last one that I have that has a great perspective, that's my favorite perspective probably, freaking Wendy's.
Oh, beyond.
I love Wendy's. So Wendy's has no right. Like there is no rhyme or reason to why this is the perspective that they have. But Wendy's roast people on social media, and that has just kind of become part of their brand. And I love this as part of their brand. And it shows a perspective that again is like brands don't have to be like salesy and buttoned up. They can have a perspective. And Wendy just decided to be like the shadiest that she could possibly be in every situation. And I love that perspective. It's refreshing.
You know what's neat too? And it's not authentic to the Wendy's, like the old Dave, who was Wendy's father, right? And then Wendy's has always been so charming and kind of like, you know what I mean? It's old fashioned in a little way, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day. And what's funny about this is it's like, who is this voice? Is it supposed to be Wendy? Or I feel like it is supposed to be maybe just some snarky employee.
Yeah,
like,
well, I see this on like this is the trend on TikTok, right? Look at like Duolingo. Like there's so many brands that are just like sassy, and it's just like, no, we're just people. Like we're people with perspectives, and we're not some button-up company. And I think that is where branding is heading, is really just like being approachable and not being this big mega brand of being like, yeah, no, we have a perspective. We're just people, and we're hanging out. Let's all just do stuff together.
It also inspired both McDonald's, Burger King, and specifically, I think sometimes Popeyes, when that big war was going on with like the chicken sandwiches. They all got this way.
Yes.
They all followed and copied the Wendy's kind of route, which I think tells you they're very pioneering.
Yep. And someone in chat, go find this. I can't show it on stream because I can't show a video because we'll get a copyright strike. But somebody go find this and drop a link down below. There's a commercial for Jack in the Box that is the best like perspective setting commercial. And Jack is there with the like ball head thing or whatever. And he walks in front of, I think he's in front of a Burger King. And he's like, some people on the streets have been talking about how they have the best burgers in town, but I don't know. I think we do. And if you have a problem, and he rips his sleeves off and it's just this jacked dude and he goes, do something about it. And then the commercial ends. And I'm like, you didn't even sell me a product. You literally just like positioned your company with what your perspective is like, no, we have the best burgers. Do you want to fight? And I love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
That's awesome. So that's all we have for our Trendworthy. We are going to go into now doing some DIY, show you how to do some awesome 3D effects in there. That would be great. And chat, we might be going on sub only for a second. I'll give it a minute, but thank you. Wade is laying the ban hammer. We had some spam in chat. Wade's laying the ban hammer, so I will trust you to just... Okay. All right, here we go, chat. So sorry. Let's go ahead and... I know, sub-only mode. Give me 1 second. Dun, dun. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum.
A little side music there.
I know.
Andrew Hawk Rattle.
Shame on you. Chat settings. We are going to go ahead and...
Do we have music accompanying this one today?
Yeah, there's music happening.
Ah, sweet.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice. And Wade, I think that you probably have the capability to turn on sub-only mode or anything. You let me know in chat, Wade, if you need some help, and we can deal with that. Sorry, chat. We love you, chat. The chat that's actually here chatting. the spammers now. All right, Nick, let's go ahead and hop in and talk about some DIY. If you want to share your screen, Nick, we can do that.
Already did. Yeah, we got.
Oh, Nick already did. Look he's like, oh, I'm doing things. I'm ahead of the game. I actually saw it and I just didn't realize it. Oh, Nick. All right, y'all. We're about to get it.
I'm going in.
I was gonna prepare for a jump scare chat.
This isn't your computer having a hiccup.
Yeah, get ready for a jump scare. We're gonna hop into DIY, and just be ready because we're about to get triggered together. All right, here we go. Welcome to DIY. We're gonna show you how to do some 3D stuff today, and get ready for a jump scare. Dun 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 dun. Oh, perspective grid.
Where's the command? Show me the shortcut. How do I get out of this?
Right. All right. So, Nick, let's go ahead and hop in here. What are we doing with perspective grid? Talk us through it.
I don't know. Have you used this?
No.
Okay. This is crazy. So you all know it's right there. It's that little hide grid. You know that part, right? We use that all the time. But under your view, you have perspective grid, show grid, which is Shift Command I. And basically, you've seen this 100 times. One day, I needed to do something as very like isometric or like with forced perspective, trying to build a little building for like an infographic. And what I found with this was it's pretty amazing. You have this little legend up here that tells you what side of the box you are working on. You have the right, the left, or the bottom. So with the right selected in blue, and I'm just bringing the box over here, as I draw, it's actually in perspective. So notice I can hold the shift key down and get a perfect square, which is cool. But what's neat is notice it's keeping the perspective exactly as I want. Now I click to the right, and now I can do the same thing here, and I'm getting a complete 3D in perfect perspective ready to go, which is awesome. Magic. So again, I can go here, go to the bottom, and we can draw here as well. I can do my base like this. Oh, I'm not perfectly square. So I'm just gonna build that here. We'll send it to the back. And you can see all of a sudden you're getting a perfect kind of layout for what you might want. I could actually duplicate, and you can see that's where it keeps, now it's a complete, it stays in the same perspective. But if I draw with here, I go here, I can make like a tower on the top here. Let's get this, where's that? Here we go. There you go. Go back to the right side. Whoops. Go back here. And we could do the same thing. Oh, I am lost. There we go.
That's insane. I had no idea that that's what it's for, and like that's what you can use it for. That's so cool. It's
kind of neat the way it has all of this. And you can go off of that kind of idea too, which is neat. So wherever it is, it's going to draw to that perspective where you're on. So if you're trying to do a little like factory or something cool with like, with the 3 different kind of steam pipes coming up or something like that, there's this fun way that you can mess around and basically do this. And I love it. I've used it for a few different kind of quick illustrations and stuff, but you can see here, I'm going to just give it a few colors and see what happens here. So you can start to see the difference. Ooh. You can do this like a little lighter red, and you can start getting a little bit of perspective as you mess around.
Little Lego tower.
Oh, exactly. Look at that.
That's so dope.
So it's kind of neat. Why would you try to do this with your own guides and just hope that all your perspective and your vanishing lines are the same, where this is going to do it and kind of give you an easy step all the way. Now, really quick too, when I get rid of this view, where's it? Perspective grid. Of course, we should know where to hide it. What's great is I'm left with these great images that are ready to go, and I know they're perfect in perspective, and I can start messing around and putting them into other illustrations.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
So hopping back over to my screen, I'm going to show you a different way to do that, because there are multiple ways to do things. I'm going to click here and go to Effect, 3D and Materials, and then we're just going to Extrude and Bevel. And from here, it takes it into 3D, and I can actually just play around with the width that I want. And then I can rotate it freely by clicking on this free transform in the middle. And right there, let's see if we can match yours a little bit.
Oh yeah, we can get the, let's see.
We can add some perspective here. Perspective, look at that.
So cool.
And then I'll rotate it maybe a little bit more. this way, and then we've got a little bit happening
Down.
this way.
Love that.
I think.
Yep.
Sweet. So
That's
look,
even more
from
so.
here,
Okay.
I created it in 3D. Nick created it using the perspective grid. Same, which is really interesting. So let's show you real quick how to do that inflate kind of look that we have
go
seen
for
in these icons over here. This is so easy to do. So all you need to do is you need to make whatever your design is. And I'm going to go ahead and use these stickers that I created for a project that I worked on. And we're going to use this spade right here. So I'm just going to grab this.
Seeing stuff that we saw in our inspiration boards earlier. Something inflated.
Yes. And I'm just going to kind of make it to the side there. And what's cool is because each of these are individual shapes. So if I turn on outlines mode, Control Y. What? What?
What was that?
How are there? Hold on. What is happening
that
right now?
Is that a EPS or a PNG?
What? Y'all, I've never seen this before, but when you hit Control Y, it should go to outline mode.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I have only outlines there. All right, well, anyway, these are all different shapes, as you
There you
can
go.
see
Okay,
here.
as long as you got 'em.
Yep.
Cool.
And if I select all of these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Effect, I'm going to go to 3D Materials, and then do Inflate. And this is how easy it is. Boom, inflated. Oh, it's because there's a stroke around it, I think. There is. Let me delete that. All right, cool. So if I select all of these, I go to Effect, 3D Materials, go to Inflate. You can see already that I'm getting these inflated kind of bubbly textures. And they're little...
It's almost like instant 3D. It's so cool.
It really is like instant 3D.
That's amazing.
So with this selected, I can actually go in here and change the lighting on these. And so let me see if I can change it all together. Do diffuse. Let's do top left maybe. Let's do them one by one. Top left. There we go. Increase that intensity. All right. Yeah. All right. Things are looking good. And so we can very quickly create that kind of bubbled 3D look and option. What I love doing is creating like little icons or even like a smiley face is super easy to do. Is we create the circle. Then we're going to create the eyes here. And I'm going to show you, this is just a different way to do it. Is we're going to create our little eyes. We're going to stretch them a little bit. Align them. And then I'll create a nice little half circle. Ooh!
Nice.
Sorry, he just like screamed as I opened that circle. All right, there we go. Create. What is going on right now? Oh, I think I turned off a setting. Okay, so I have all of my paths are missing is what's happening for some reason.
That's so cool.
So I have my little smiley face, and what we can do is we can actually knock this out by going to Object, Expand, and then we're going to make this a compound path using the Pathfinder tool. So we'll go here to Pathfinder, we'll unite, and then I'm going to punch it out of the background. So I'm going to have both of these selected, and then we are going to minus front. And you'll see I made a copy so that I have both, but you'll see that it's kind of knocked out there. And what's cool is now if I select this knocked out kind of circle, watch what happens. Boo!
Oh, you know what? Do the black as well and put it behind it.
Yep.
And won't that get all dimensional too?
Yep.
Yeah.
So if we put the black behind here, it'll get that little bit of dimension. But then if I apply the same thing where I inflate there, I'm actually going to turn the black to like a gray. You can see there that we're getting this nice... That looks terrifying. Why is it so scary?
The offset looked kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. It's fun, but a little scary.
It's fun but a little scary. Like kind of my vibe. And the lighting, again, you can change the lighting to however you want it to look. And then you also can change the inflatedness of this by going to Object and then change the volume. So you can make it less or more kind of inflated.
Yeah, it's like a disc, like a flat disc with rounded edges rather than like a whole inflate.
Yep, and then you can see the depth is making it so that it looks a little bit deeper. And then if you wanted to, this is actually a really cool new feature, is you can twist it. So you can twist and it will just twist this back. And so if I move it, you'll be able to see better. It's basically twisting this as it goes back.
You can't see it, but it's like the openness of those, the openings are actually probably what's twisting inside, right?
Yes, exactly. And I think that
it's almost like a maze. You've created a maze.
I was gonna say, I think that we like accidentally made a Scrub Daddy. Like
yeah.
Like, don't know what happened, but I think we accidentally ended up making a Scrub Daddy. Actually, hold on. I'm just going to do it real quick because this is Twitch and we have time and nothing matters.
That's so neat. Yeah.
All right, Scrub Daddy, please sponsor us. All I need to do
pointed edges.
Yeah, is give it the pointed edges. So hold on. This is going to be so easy. What we're going to do is I'm going to go here and make a star. And then we're going to make a star where the radius is like 45 and 50. So that is the outside of the point and the inside of the point. And then we're going to give it like, I don't know, 45.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Scrub Daddy. So I'm going to do that. And this is just a 45 pointed star instead of doing like a weird circle. And then we're going to punch this out. I don't actually know the shape of Scrub Daddy, but I think it's pretty close to this. Actually,
you for now, so we don't get copyrighted.
Right.
I think
it's this way, right? Because the whole thing is that it can clean a spoon. No, it's like this.
Oh, it does curve down
because it curves with the spoon. Okay, cool. So we're gonna punch this out. Gosh, this stream is so unhinged, Nick. What is this show?
No, this is why we're here.
Okay, and then we're going to go to inflate.
Filter Scrub Daddy.
Yeah, filter Scrub Daddy. I'm actually gonna do extrude, and then we're gonna give it a little bit of depth.
Perfect.
And then, we're going to do like I think yellow color is good. Let me change the lighting. So lighting, I want to be rotated a little more. Oh yeah, let's do some downward lighting. Make it like a scary Scrub Daddy.
Ooh, it's kind of like if Scrub Daddy was like a coin in a video game now.
Yes. And what's cool is you can actually do Substance 3D materials. Super easy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and go into materials here.
Uh-oh.
And if there isn't one... if there isn't one that I like, all I can need to do...
You need like a spongy, webby kind of thing there.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you can actually click and there are all these resources and I'm going to do sponge. Sponge, there we go.
Or maybe even styrofoam.
Oh yeah, let's do foam.
Let's see, anything there?
No, what else?
Styrofoam? Maybe?
Sponge. That's how you spell sponge, right? Yeah. Let's just scroll and see. Oh, here we go. Fabric, leather, concrete, brick, asphalt, organic, paper, maybe plaster. I wonder if plaster would look interesting. I mean, like, we can do oh, maybe this would work. Okay, so let's do this plaster substance. All you need to do is click on the download here and then come back to Illustrator and I can add that very easily by clicking plus. Add materials, and then just grab that download of the SBAR file that will come in here. And I'm going to hit OK. And now I have that file. Where did you show up as?
I believe we just found out we are live on YouTube as well today.
Oh, we're live on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
Well, welcome YouTube. Hello, everyone.
We're just making Scrub Daddies here.
I didn't know that. I did not think that was a thing, but I guess it is. There we go. This is like better.
Hey.
This is better. And we can change the main color here. So let's change the main color here to this yellow.
I was going to say, keep it granite. It's like perfect for like those really hard to clean pots and pans.
Yeah, totally. Okay, I'm not mad about this. This is like kind of okay to me. All right, fun. Sure. Yeah, let's leave it. So
unclick it really quick. Now, what I love about this is it's like the perfect example of things you don't think you could create on Illustrator.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like with that kind of smudgy, weathered look and everything, and then some shadowing as well. Like it's incredible how much you can do there.
Yep. And you can even change the lighting so that you have shadows. So check that out. There's a really nice shadow. And this is a very simple, easy 3D, like super easy. Just right away. Boom. Amazing. All right, Nick, let's hop over to your screen and do some DIY. We're going way over on this timing, but who cares? Because there's no time limit.
I'm still new to using this in so many different ways, and this is literally just a ring. So imagine like your O from a type, and you've converted it to outlines. It does have the knocked out window you can see. So this is literally a ring, There's a fun one here called Revolve, and what this is going to do is almost turn it into the donut shape, which is kind of hilarious. Like you can see what it's doing there. And again, you have all of this fun stuff to kind of look at what kind of angle, go all 360. Did you know it could do that? That's pretty killer.
Oh yes, you can do
Look
it
at
by,
this.
it's like by segments, right?
Yeah, I love that. That is so cool. Again, now we can flip this around to all different kinds of angles and uniqueness. And look at that lighting. That is so great. Love this idea.
Tasty.
So cool.
Delicious.
Yeah. You got your inflate, you've got your extrude. Here's another way you could do it just to get some of those, like any kind of thing that you are trying to figure out as far as like uniqueness and kind of 3D. I've been using it a little bit more often ever since we figured it out a few months ago. And I think most of this 3D palette just became so much more fun, and it has like new stuff. Plus with the lighting and everything else, this idea that you have like presets to kind of choose from, it's so perfect.
It's
Love
magic.
This idea.
It's
Yeah.
magic.
And then
All
we
right.
got our materials as well.
Oh yeah, we have materials that we can add on there. Again, if you want more information about 3D, you can grab the link that's going to be down in chat. It is adobe.ly/3D bootcamp. There's going to be a lot more coming here. Nick, that looks so good. I love the wood textures in there. All right. As a note, hi Wade, hi moderator. If you can kill our stream on YouTube, that would be great. Or if you can get Paco to do it, or someone that has access. I accidentally went live to YouTube as well, y'all. What can I say? We were testing it last week,
Welcome to Anchor
and
Points.
I left the setting on. Welcome to Anchor Points for the 6 of you that are watching. You get an exclusive look. You should be over on Twitch, but this stream hopefully is going to end soon.
That was really our way to get a sneak preview.
That's it. We're trying to get some product placement. All right, so we are going to skip a segment today, which is going to be a little different. We had a segment planned to talk about counterpoints, where Nick and I were going to kind of go back and forth. Nick, actually, we'll let chat vote on this. We only have time for 1 or 2 more segments.
What do we want? Do you want a fight or do you want a history lesson?
Yes. Do we want? All right. We are going to do counterpoints, or we are going to do expert insight. All right, chat, we're going to give you 2 minutes. Poll is up. Let us know what you want to see. Do we want expert insight, or do we want to do a little bit of controversial talk over the subject? Oh, actually, here, we'll even give you options on what the topics are. We have
Look how fast that goes.
we have, what's the sell? We're talking about, is it more important to sell your perspective or your product is going to be counterpoints? If you want to see expert insight, Nick, what are we talking about in expert insight?
That today is going to be Cubism.
Nope. It's going to be about how to expand your perspective. And you know what? If you are watching this, I will add down in the description for the show notes, whichever one we don't do, we will give you the slides for. And that way you'll have something to download. There'll be a link down in the description immediately following the show with the extra segment, some bonus content for you.
You always win at Anchor Points.
It's true, you always win. All right, it looks like we are going to do some counterpoints.
Yeah.
Which, all right, chat, it's fine.
May I predict Counterpoints will have a spin-off series from this one day?
It's just going to be us fighting eternally till the end of time. All right.
Or just more creatives coming together and having the same thing.
Yes, exactly. Chat, it's time for counterpoints. Welcome to Counterpoints. That is the biggest poll I've ever seen. And as you can see, our live chat voted for us to do this segment. If you are watching this replay, we are live every Wednesday, 1 p.m., twitch.tv/Adobe. And we do live polls like this so that you can vote on what you want to see on the show. So Nick, let's talk about this. Nope, that was literally you going away. Let's talk about this. What's the sell?
There we go.
Perspective versus product. This is the poll for today. Is the perspective more important, and is the product more important? Nick, what's your take on this?
I'm a fan, or I'm learning through history, that product sells me in much more at the beginning of any onboarding with a new client than my perspective does. And I
Interesting.
believe I start with product. I believe perspective comes in later once I've got them and I've got the trust. And I think you've got a different opinion on that.
I do. And chat, we want to hear your opinion as well. I went ahead and started a poll of what is more valuable, perspective or product. To me, my take on this is that your perspective is more valuable. We're going to talk about Picasso in a minute, but there's a great story where Picasso, someone was walking through a park and said, "Hey, will you draw me?" He drew her in like 10 seconds. And then he's like, "That'll be like $5,000. And she's like, "What? That took you like 10 seconds. And he said, "No, that took me my whole life." Right? That he had built the stories and perspective to go into a project. So my skill set, I think that I've identified, is more on the perspective that I have and the approach that I have to creativity than the products that I can deliver. I do think I understand Nick's perspective because he is a very product-driven designer. I am a very perspective-driven creative, and I like to sell my clients on a kind of holistic approach to say, hey, this is the problem that we're trying to solve. Cool, let's go ahead and figure out what your perspective is to address that problem, and I'll bring my perspective and experience to help you solve that, and that's what they pay for. It's not necessarily for specific products. It is for the perspective that I bring to their business to help them reach their goals.
So I would challenge and say, I hope my perspective and my expertise is enough in my website and my online presence that I feel that trust is already there with it. But I've been learning too, when I'm onboarding and I throw in perspective and we haven't signed the deal just yet, I'm giving away like proprietary information. I'm selling them on my idea, and we haven't even signed a paperwork yet.
Interesting.
So I've stopped because I'm saying, if you can't get it from what I've shown you already with the brands I've already created, then maybe you're not. That's one of my like qualifiers. I want to make sure they understand and appreciate the art and what they're going to get first. But I think sometimes that perspective, particularly yours, dude, because you've done some insane cool stuff with branding and you have a very unique spin. I would say that's your secret sauce, and don't give it away so quickly.
Ooh, that's really good advice, Nick. I'm gonna hold, where's the poll? Let me vote for Nick.
You're gonna vote for me,
right? I think that's great, and I do think that there is a value in the distinction of when we're trying to sell product, there's a lot of people that can deliver a product, right? And so I see the value and perspective to say I can deliver that product, but it is going to be a different and unique perspective from all these other people that are doing it, right? And I think, Nick, you've had experiences in the past and semi recently of delivering a product, right, that maybe multiple people have tried to implement this product that is being delivered, but your perspective shows that it's important to have perspective and product, not just be able to produce the product, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think it's a matter of timing. I think a few people in chat have said it depends on the project itself in a lot of ways. If you are struggling and need that extra job and it hasn't come around in a long time, or you're trying to start that side hustle, sure, I think you can give away a little bit of the magic, and that little kind of like special thing that you do that sells your perspective. But I think the other thing I would say to my point is there are a lot of new companies out there. There are a lot of companies that have been started in the last 3 years. I'm seeing a lot of them come my way. They get some funding. They're in. They don't even get perspective just yet. What's going to put a sparkle in their eye is the finished products and the stuff I can show them on my website that's like said and done, successful. Like that's the lure. That's what you can dangle, I think, over them with, from